Hello. Coming from one of my favorite spots on the Colorado National Monument up Liberty Cap. I've been thinking about this an awful lot, and the question is, and has always been, how should man then live? It was first proposed by Socrates in the 500 BC, but prior to that, Solomon asked, how then should man live? And he went on to say, first of all, you have to be intelligently disciplined. For what reason? Well, one, to be right, which is an unusual thing in our country. Two, to be just. And three, to be fair. We have sat back now for a long time and watched some horrible things take place in our country, and we need to rearrange our moral compass, and that's what this is all about. We first have got to return to the principles that we were raised under, that we were set up for. And those come from Scripture. As we look at the first part of what I'm going to do is discuss Deuteronomy 6. And it says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is your first and only God." And that's depicted by the letter Aleph. And it simply means that God is a conduit, and his principles are passed on to man. And we are, in fact, designed to live by those principles and those instructions and those precepts that are set forth in our book called the Torah. Now, I'm speaking of the Torah as an instrument to teach us by. It is not a book of laws. It is, in fact, how we are to run our life. And I'm going to do this simply because I have sat back too long and watched so many people eat themselves into oblivion, the disease that we currently live in, the obesity that this country is living in, the fatigue, the stress, the insecurity. We want to systematically address that in so many areas. And I thought to introduce that today from my favorite spot of thinking, if you will, of kind of explaining this wonderful country that I live in. This would be a very, very good place. So join me in the coming days and the weeks, and I will walk us through the principles of Scripture. And I think the most interesting thing that I'm going to talk about is in Peter Marshall's writings. He mentioned the circuit riders riding their way through those hollows and that dense undergrowth on the East Coast. And they always wore a lantern. They carried it in the evening, and he made a specific line. He said, you know, these people are needles of light threading their way through the fabric of this nation. And we have put our light out. And it is time that we put our light back on and teach moral truths, physical laws, in terms to live free by, to be healthy, to be financially independent, also to be morally clean.